Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you the core insights you need. And today, June 19th, 2025, we are definitely plunging into something huge, a really dramatic, maybe unprecedented escalation in the Iran-Israel conflict. We've gone through the latest reports, the official statements, and our mission really is just to give you a clear, concise picture of what's unfolded. Because this week, well, it feels different. The global implications feel massive. So let's try and unpack it.
Yeah, I think unprecedented is probably the right word here. It's not just the scale, but the nature of the targets. We're talking Iran directly hitting significant civilian medical infrastructure. That's a big line crossed. And then Israel's response, equally direct, targeting named very sensitive nuclear sites. It just, fundamentally raises the stakes.
Okay, so let's start with the Iranian strike, the one that really kicked off this latest very intense phase.
Right. That was the ballistic missile hitting the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba. And this isn't like a small clinic. It's the biggest hospital in southern Israel. The strike caused a pretty serious damage, put the whole place on emergency footing.
And the human cost, I mean, hitting a hospital, what are the initial reports on casualties there?
The numbers are still a bit fluid, but estimates for the injured at Soroka civilians, medical staff range from maybe 40 up to, some reports say, over 200. And it wasn't just Soroka. There were other missiles near Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, Holon, residential high-rises hit, another maybe 40 to 65 people injured there.
Wow, okay, so understandably, Israeli officials immediately condemned this, calling it a war crime.
Exactly. Right from the jump, they framed it as a major, major escalation, a war crime. That set the tone for what came next.
Which was Israel's retaliation. How quickly did that follow, and what did it target? Because you mentioned sensitive sites.
Oh, it was swift. And yeah, very definitive in terms of targets. Israel launched airstrikes against multiple Iranian nuclear and military sites. We're talking specifically the Arak heavy water reactor. Also missile infrastructure near Iraq, Natanz, Bushehr, Isfahan. These aren't minor bases, they're key nodes.
Right. These are names we hear often in relation to Iran's nuclear program and military capabilities. And the damage assessment. Israeli reports are claiming, up to two-thirds of Iran's missile launchers destroyed, dozens of targets hit. That sounds substantial.
It's staggering if those figures are accurate. I mean, two-thirds of their launchers. That would be a profound hit to Iran's immediate offensive missile capability. It could really shift the short-term military balance in the region. But, there's always the other side of this, the human cost overall.
Yeah, let's touch on that because it's not just infrastructure.
No. In Israel, the initial reports are around 24 people killed, hundreds injured from those Iranian strikes. But in Iran, from the combination of their own strikes possibly misfiring or falling short and the Israeli reprisals, the death toll is reportedly over 639. Many civilians caught in the middle. It's devastating.
And the rhetoric from leadership on both sides just mirrors this intensity.
Absolutely. You have Israel's defense minister directly naming Iran's supreme leader, calling him a war criminal, saying he can no longer exist. Pretty stark language. And Prime Minister Netanyahu vowing Iran will pay the full price.
Meanwhile, Iran is denying any radiation leak from Arak, sticking to the line their nuclear program is purely peaceful.
Right. And the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, did report no radiological leakage detected after the Iraq strike, which is, a small relief. But they also repeated their concerns about not having enough oversight at Iran's nuclear sites generally. That lack of transparency is a constant worry.
And the wider world is watching this.
Yeah.
With alarm, I see.
Yeah, definitely alarm. You've got China, Russia, European countries all calling pretty urgently for de-escalation, for diplomacy. It highlights this kind of rare global consensus really driven by the fear of where this could actually lead. Nuclear escalation is the nightmare scenario everyone wants to avoid.
And then there's the U.S. President Trump has reaffirmed support for Israel, potential military aid. There are even reports he's considering options deeper inside Iran.
Yeah, that adds another really complex layer. The U.S. backing Israel is one thing, but talk of deeper strikes inside Iran, that immediately brings warnings from regional militias, Iraqi groups, IRGC elements, saying broader U.S. involvement would just blow the conflict wide open.
Okay, so just to sort of recap where we are after this deep dive, a shocking Iranian strike on a hospital, triggering a major Israeli retaliation against key nuclear and military sites. The conflict has intensified dramatically. There's diplomatic pressure, sure, but the military threats feel incredibly real and immediate.
And it leaves us with a pretty sobering thought, doesn't it? When you see direct attacks on major civilian centers and sensitive nuclear facilities, you have to ask, What new thresholds have actually been crossed here? And maybe more critically for the future, how does this change the game for international de-escalation efforts, especially when red lines seem to get redrawn so quickly? Something for all of us, you included, to think about.